The difference between a sales agent and a distributor: a sales agent will sell your film in a post-production or in production to various territories, to distributors in various territories who will then sell your film into theatres.
A sales agent is going to make a deal and try and sell all of those rights in different territories. Yes. Around the world, and a distributor might take on specific rights to distribute either theatrically or on DVD in a specific part of the world.
We are primarily, I suppose, a distributor and a sales agent to some degree, because we sell your film to other territories, but because there are so few distributors that do theatrical screenings globally, we then act as a distributor as well, because we control all the rights across the platforms in those territories. There's kind of two ways that we acquire short films, or via two channels, either through film festivals or through direct submissions.
The most obvious route for a sales agent to see your film now is by getting it into a good festival. I mean, the sales agents still go around to the big festivals in the UK, you know, we're talking about Encounters or perhaps DocFest. There's also a case of recommendation, of course. I think it doesn't harm if you're on a scheme like the British Council's short support scheme.
If you go to Clermont-Ferrand, there's a whole short film market going on there. There are many independent distributors, digital exhibitors, film, TV channels that show short films. So there's quite a healthy market if once you get recognised on the film festival circuit.
The usual way that how our catalogue comes together is really seeing the films at the festivals.
I very much aim for film festivals first and try and get into as many film festivals as possible, hopefully win some awards or get some kind of recognition. And then by virtue of being at those film festivals, you get interest from digital platforms, because they can then sort of sell your short film. They know there's an audience for it, whether that's on iTunes or many of the independent short film distributors. There aren't as many in the UK, there are agencies, but I find that, say, if you go to particularly France, Germany or Spain, there's a bigger market for short films.
In the UK, I mean, there's Shorts International, there's Future Shorts, there's Dazzle. I think there's kind of the only three in the UK that I can think of, unless someone new has popped up.
There's a lot of short films out there and very few buyers. Your primary buyers tend to be in Europe, around France, Spain, Germany to some degree. So we launched Shorts TV France, I think it was 2008. And then from there we've launched various pay TV channels in the US, in Turkey, in the Netherlands, and France, of course.
Independent Cinema Office is the national body advocating independent cinema. We have several different strands to our organisation. So we deal in film programming, so we program a range of independent cinemas around the UK. We also do distribution, so we distribute feature films and some short films. And we also provide training for exhibitors for cinemas. We program 16 cinemas around the UK. In other words, we choose the films on a kind of day-to-day basis, what they show. But we also have a network of about 700 plus cinemas that take our films that we distribute around the UK. It's always really useful if it's had some kind of recognisable festivals behind it. It just helps the publicity for it. If you can get your film into competition in Cannes, it's a fantastic endorsement.
We have a really good relationship with the Academy, the Film Academy in the US, and so we release the nominated short films theatrically in the US, on iTunes and on VOD platforms in the US, and globally. Having a good festival pedigree does help sell the film, purely because there is talk about the film out there. It's done the marketing for us to some degree.
The theatrical industry isn't really geared up to doing publicity on behalf of short films, unless they've won some major award or something like that. So the onus is very much on the filmmaker to publicise these. They'll go on the cinema's website and things like that, but it's probably a really good idea if your film is showing to contact local press, for example, local radio, things like that. The key thing is to have the materials available that when you need to, you can publicise it. It's about having all the kind of ancillary materials, so have your stills, have your synopsis. If you've got someone well-known, flag that up, either behind the camera or in front of it.
Things like stills, really important. Any EPK material you can make is great. We use a lot of the EPK stuff, kind of behind the scenes, the making of footage for Shorts TV, because we do profiles on short filmmakers.
People in my sort of job get a lot of films sent to us, so you really need to try and make it stand out. We get far more sent to us than we can ever hope to watch. Having an online presence before your film shows in cinemas is very useful, but you don't have to have that up and running when you contact someone like me. I usually have a lead-in time, for example, of 3 to 6 months between seeing something I like and actually hitting a cinema screen. I'm really interested in stuff that changes the form of cinema, so something that's playful, experimental, and clearly is pointing the future for all kinds of filmmaking. So when we're looking for a short film, we're looking for something that's innovative, audacious, punchy. It's got to be very different to anything else. And we're looking for films that are no longer than 10 minutes because we're putting them in front of feature films.
What we're looking for is, I don't know if it's the same in England, but we call it art house. So,
Yeah.
And really a little bit edgy.
Once we like your film, we can do one of two deals. We do either a distribution deal or a broadcast deal. If we think the film is good enough to be sold on to other parties, we'll offer you a distribution deal. We take exclusive and non-exclusive rights for distribution. We take all media. Additionally, Shorts International works very closely with iTunes. We were their exclusive aggregator for short films. They've now opened up to other short film distributors globally. iTunes does need a 10-year license, so we do take 10-year license when it comes to the EST rights, which are your electronic sell-through rights.
The normal deal we do with a short filmmaker is we'll give them a share of the back-end revenue. It depends how it's done. If it's in a short film program, so it's a feature-length collection of shorts, then we'll probably give them like a flat fee every time it's shown, and that could be something in the region of 10 or 15 pounds. To give you an idea of how much a cinema expects to pay for a 90-minute or 2-hour feature, they would expect to pay about £100. So obviously if there are 5 shorts, the cinema is only ever going to spend £100. So you're going to get 5 into 100, so you get 20 quid or something like that. So it's not a way to get rich, that's for sure. But clearly it says something about your short if it's shown in a cinema context. The one thing I would say about online distribution is if your short film is available freely on the web, it's very unlikely we'll put it into a cinema. So normally we would expect to showcase it first in the cinema and then put it online.
If we take a short film into our catalog, it's not allowed to be online because
Right.
I couldn't do a deal exclusively with any broadcaster if it's online already and if it's spread already. The exclusive moment is gone. We are really still kind of very traditional sales agent. And so I would also say we have a big focus on doing deals with TV broadcasters because that's still where most of the money comes from.
Sales agents have the contacts with the buyers. It's a slow and tedious process trying to get screeners out, chasing up buyers, making sure they've watched the film, negotiating deals. So there's nothing to say that you couldn't do it yourself. I probably shouldn't be advocating that, but you could, absolutely. Basically, it just takes the stress of that off you while you go on and work on other projects.
And I also think it's a big part of just going through all these contracts with all these little clauses, and we're used to it.
There's nothing to say that you can't mix and match your distribution rights. I mean, if if you're looking at kind of Kurz Film Agency Hamburg, for the German rights, you could give away just the German rights, German or European rights, and then another distributor may be stronger in America or Latin America, then you split your rights. You can do the whole lot non-exclusively, in which case you can sell the film at the same time as your distributor. That is okay, but as long as there's communication between the filmmaker and your distributor, that's fine, because a lot of times it's confusing for buyers when you go in and you've had the filmmaker pitch their film, and your sales agent comes in and pitches the film afterwards again, and you kind of think, well, who's got the rights?
I can think two benefits buying films from agents is the first of all is the film is already selected, so the agents are kind of filter role. So I can trust films got good quality, good standard, so which is really good, and also they work with filmmakers much more than closely, much more than me. So they know filmmakers, projects, or what's coming. So saves my time a lot looking at the agent's catalogue. We are very open to any genre. So the drama, fiction, animation, experimental documentary, or animated documentary. But first of all, the quality is essential. And we have a few restrictions, which is the duration is up to 20 minutes. And we both buy for fillers and general programming. For fillers, about 1 to 5 minutes, and otherwise up to 20 minutes, but 10 to 15 minutes are ideal duration.
It's best, as you said, not longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Between 10 and 20 minutes, it's great for us.
We're only looking at the production up to 2 years, so no older than that. And also we don't show any children's program. We are multilingual, multicultural TV channel. So a good cross-section of international and multicultural life and stories. We have set price for license fee, which is 120 Australian dollars per minute. So no matter what kind of film directors, well-known or fast student films, or any countries, or any production, we have just one set price, no negotiation, unfortunately. Territory is Australia exclusive, and we broadcast on TV and also internet for catch-up TV. And for the terms, it's up to 15 minutes, 6 runs over 3 years, and 15 minutes and over 2 years, and 2 runs over 3 years.
Usually for the theatrical distribution, it's about 5 years we
5
do.
years.
And for the sales department, we try to do 7 years.
In terms of shorts TV, we do non-exclusive deals because we know our license fee's pretty low on the spectrum. We also take the same rights, so we take pay TV rights, we take VOD rights for catch-up TV and ESTM mobile. It's becoming part of any broadcast deal, all this catch-up TV stuff. And as more devices and more ways to watch content get invented, you're going to start losing more and more rights to that respect. We do a 3-year deal, and we pay $18 a minute for the US and 30 euros a minute for Europe. And those are our deals. But it's also done on a permanent rate. We do a buyout for theatrical, it's $5,000, and we do a revenue share for everything else, so the VOD, the TV, and EST.
Good average sum that you could get at the end of the year would be around 1,000 or a little bit above euros. If you have a contract with us for the theatrical distribution, the share is different. So like just for the sales agent, that's also important for the filmmaker. So as theatrical distribution is a lot of work for every screening because you have to send all the 35 millimeters, et cetera, et cetera. So it's 50-50 share.
I think the difference between, I suppose, SBS and ourselves is that we're a 24/7 short film channel. So we have a lot of short film that goes on there. We have to acquire 600 hours of new content a year. So that's roughly 3,500-4,000 short films a year. So we'll try and sell the film first to other broadcasters in the US. We'll try and sell it first to other broadcasters in Europe. If it gets to a point where no one's interested in acquiring the film for those 2 right territories, then we will then pitch it into our programmers for shorts TV.
We really like to take all rights exclusively worldwide. That's the way we work. We just take about 15 shorts a year, so it's not very much. It's very exclusive.
Very
As we are kind of just taking very few shots, we really take care very much for each film.
In terms of distribution, we'll sign closer to maybe 50 to 100, maybe 150 for distribution. Purely because we have the iTunes and a few other, not all the films we sign are purely for broadcast distribution because, in terms of, let's say, standard or traditional broadcast, terrestrial broadcasters and cable broadcasters in Europe, they take very limited number of films each year. So, Hamburg has a strategy where they sign the best films because they know they can sell to those broadcasters. Now, we're a bit broader because we know we can sell, if it won't get onto a broadcast deal, it will get onto a VOD platform that we think we can do something with it. So we're a bit more open to it, and also because we have our own TV channels, we know that at some point it'll come down onto our TV channels. So we're a bit more open in terms of the films that we sign. I suppose the beauty of having a short film channel as well, or short film channels, is that we can guarantee that your film will end up on Shorts TV at some point throughout the distribution period. What we will do first, of course, is try and sell that film into territories to broadcasters who pay more than us. If it doesn't sell in those territories, then we can guarantee they will be on Shorts TV at some point. We can take delivery in any format. Mostly, we can take HD cam, we can take Apple ProRes files, we can take anything that's, I suppose, it's native and uncompressed. I suppose if you shot in Super 8 and you telesend it to HD, that'd be quite an expensive process. But if you're willing to do that, we'd be happy to take it. I think, for us, because we're becoming an HD channel, we have an HD requirement.
There's a big push in TV to be true HD, which can be a problem for filmmakers with low to no budget. But to counteract that, Random Act, Shooting Gallery, a lot of the late night strands are all SD because we know that with tight budgets come even kind of tighter equipment budgets.
We never cover the cost of production for a short filmmaker, so they would have to give us the finished screening copy as they intended to be seen. I wouldn't really show anything less than a Blu-ray, 2K digital. That's really changed things. It's made it a lot more democratic. So for example, I could take you know, a Blu-ray or something of your short film and put that directly into my server and show it, and it's very cost effective for you, the filmmaker, and for the cinema. Whereas before, you know, making a 35mm print of a short film is prohibitively expensive for most people. In terms of the kind of production values of the short film itself, I don't care about that at all. It can be incredibly lo-fi, but if it's got flair and talent and is well cut and well put together, then great.
You know, when I go to festivals, I have more commercial eye. I acquire films that I think a general audience would like to watch, rather than a festival audience or an award-winning audience would like to watch. Just try and strike the right chord between a festival winner and something that's going to be commercial. Films that win festivals aren't necessarily always commercial, and commercial films aren't necessarily always festival winners. So it's very hard for us to kind of strike that balance. But I think, you know, you can just tell certain films just have that little je ne sais quoi.